all these on paper super successful entrepreneurs, I don't really have respect for any of these two are getting divorced. This one doesn't ever show up for their kids. This one is saying they're doing multi-million-dollar launches, but they're like barely surviving because they have to pay all this money to affiliates and ads and what. It's all appearances. It's all keeping up with the Joneses. And most of us convince ourselves, I'm doing it for my family, obviously. Like I'm creating freedom for us. This is a worthy thing to chase. This is a noble thing of me to do. The selfishness of just trying to stroke our ego to make this business work, it really comes at the expense of the things that matters most. If we're willing to be honest, you become more elite after you've attempted something that you maybe weren't totally ready for or didn't know exactly how it was going to go, but you come out of it having grown. Magic starts to happen both in the business, but also personally. You start to fuel the other categories of your life that matter, like your health, because you're vibrant again, you're energized, you're in your sweet spot. You're not living your life in busy work, you're living in your life's work. Like so much good comes from it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ageless Future podcast, where we give you experiences that create agelessness in your mindset. And today, I've got a special treat for you because I've got a new friend, Liz Hartke, on with me, and she is the founder of a business leadership advisor to many great humans. Many of you may have heard of her or worked with her. She was introduced to me by Garrett Gunderson. She's getting ready to launch your big next, the cost of playing small and how to step into your calling, abandoning busy work for your life's profitable work. And we're going to kind of go through this discovery of this question: what if business growth could lead to more harmony in your family? Now, I think this is one of the most important and impactful questions you could ask yourself. And Liz is somebody who has created a company called the Luminary Leadership Co. She's proud to work alongside her incredible team and husband while also homeschooling their 4 kids from their farm property. Through their competitive masterminds, mentorships, and online programs, Liz has broken the mold on what it looks like to go from busy work to your life's work while honoring the areas of life that matter most. Her expertise and unconventional wisdom have been featured in media outlets including Forbes, Fast Company, and Entrepreneur. She's personally mentored top industry leaders and has spoken on stages throughout the world. After losing their 5th baby at 17 weeks pregnant and experiencing a miraculous event after nearly losing her life itself, Liz is fiercely passionate about getting ambitious entrepreneurs out of the trap of busy and into visionary leadership where they can access the intentional, meaningful, and freedom-filled lives they crave. Liz, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Regan. I'm excited to be with you.
And so you are one busy lady, and what's it like living on a farm and homeschooling kids in 2025?
I really try to emphasize the fact that it's not what you see on Instagram of all these families with like a bunch of kids, and it all looks so beautiful and curated and their kids are all put together. My kids are awesome and I'm obsessed with them and they're totally feral, and our life is just like, I wouldn't even call it controlled chaos a lot of the time. It's just chaos and a lot of fun. And we've really shifted gears in how we homeschool. Like my husband and I were not homeschooled, so this is new territory for us, new-ish territory. And we just really started to think about like, man, what do we want to instill in our kids? Like, what do we want them to know? What do we want them to learn? How do we want to support their growth? So we've kind of tossed aside the traditional rule book on schooling and have just really leaned into their bent and explored stuff as a family and brought them into the conversations that we feel like are going to be the most fruitful for them. Like we talk a lot about health and faith and relationships and connection and what it means to be selfless and to follow your heart and your calling and just like all the stuff that we're like, man, if school just distilled it down to like the top things that actually matter, we'd have a pretty cool revolution of kids that turn this world around.
Man. So yeah, I mean, your future vision is that your kids learn how to live their best life.
Mhm.
And I think school, I don't know, have you read the book, The Four Agreements?
I have, yep.
Where we all get domesticated. We all learn to follow the rules and listen to our teachers and do what society wants us to do. And then we lose our own internal voice. And so what a gift you're giving your kids.
Yeah, we're learning as we go. Admittedly, we're learning as much as they are as we do it.
Yeah, well, one of my mentors, Dan Sullivan, he says there's three rules in life. He says, rule number one, everything's made up. Rule number two, no one's in charge. And rule number three is life's not fair. So you're
And
making it up. I mean, this is the beautiful thing is life's an experiment. So
yeah.
what have you learned so far?
I think the thing that we've had to unlearn more than we've had to learn, I think, because
Mhm.
I went to public school first through 8th grade, and then a private school for high school. My husband was, a Christian school all the way through. So we didn't know anything else. Like we didn't know to kind of question how things were done. So we were at first finding ourselves just like trying to replace school at home, which felt like a
Yeah.
heavy pressure because run a business, it's a significant enough business that it requires, our attention. And we were trying to fit square pegs in a round hole, meaning our kids, into like, this is the process. You got to follow the process. And then I thought about my life and like the path that we've taken, and it's so unconventional and it's so like against the grain, and we've broken the rules to get to where we are, and it's what served us the most. And I'm like, what are we doing? So we just had to be willing to throw away that rule book and unlearn a lot of the things that we were just so conditioned to believe is true about how people learn. So I've had to learn to just like hold my plans with open hands, I think is a big thing. It's like you
Mm,
have plans, you have vision, you be a visionary, but your steps and how you get there might change daily. And that's a principle I live by, sure, in raising my kids, but also in running my business and casting vision into that business and serving others and what I think is going to happen in life. And then you get thrown curveballs. It's like, yeah, make the plans, but be willing to be agile in how you pursue them.
man. Well, it takes a lot. I like, what'd you say? You've got your plans with open hands?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because so often, like we get so attached to plans and we just spend so much time planning what we never actually live. And so that little piece of wisdom can unlock a lot of energy for, those of you who listen to that. So you're someone who loves leadership and you're living a life that's unconventional, which my hat's off to you. And what do you guys raise on your farm, by the way?
So our farm was in Wisconsin. We were there for 6 years, mostly chickens. We were like, when I say amateur, I mean amateur. Another thing we tend to, our MO, I think I'm realizing this, is we are starting to feel like life is getting comfortable. What wrench do we want to throw in it to make it more
Mm,
challenging again? So that was kind of our farm venture. And then we've since, just in the last year, moved back to New Hampshire, where I'm from, to be closer to family. And we moved to an orchard here. So now we're in like a whole new territory where the orchard grows like everything. And really for us, it was just like, we have two key barometers in deciding where we live in terms of like the actual property itself. Like the move stemmed from knowing we wanted to raise our kids in a village again. We wanted our family surrounding us. I have a really big, awesome, multi-generational family that it was killing me being away from them. So it's really good to be home.
right.
But another key thing for us is like, how do we make our home a haven both for our family, but also the people we're privileged to work with? So our clients and the entrepreneurs that we serve, we wanted to live somewhere where they could get away from their chaos and come into ours, which is funny. It doesn't feel like chaos to them because they don't have to manage it, but
Right.
and they can get inspired and see a vision of their future and see what's really possible and kind of see into those dark pockets of heart and mind as to, where they're really called to go. So this home really spoke to us, and we've been so happy here. So we don't have chickens yet because we've only been here a year. We're like, all right, keep all kids up and running and fed. And once we feel sufficient there, we will add animals. So we'll bring chickens back in the mix, but we're not farmers. We're total amateurs that love the premise of knowing how to care for ourselves in that way, and like learning all the lessons that come with, growing things and gardening and whatever. But I'm no green thumb. I'm way better like stuff like this.
Well, the fact that your kids are still alive and you're able to meet today, it means you're succeeding. So
I would say it's a win in our book.
So you've been mentored by John C. Maxwell. I mean, he's a legend. And was some of his principles what led you and your husband down this path, or is there another person who was a kind of a motivator for you?
I've been blessed with a lot of incredible mentors. So John came into my life again. He had no idea who I was. I was gifted a book of his maybe 13, 14 years ago when I had first started my business. And it was a huge gift because although it was just a used book that someone was just passing along to me, it totally woke me up to what it means to be a leader. Because for years, I was serving entrepreneurs, helping them scale their businesses. I'm really passionate about that. That's where my skill set lies. But I found that with every single one that I was working with, at some point, they became their own bottleneck. Like their business started to outgrow their leadership. And the tendency is that they all grasp at the next best strategy. Oh, what marketing funnel do I have to create? Or how do I change my systems? Or I need a better team. Or, we just grab at the external things that we think are going to solve the problem. But what it really is who do I need to become in order to actually access that next level? And so John's book was kind of like my first dose of the power of leadership. And so I studied his stuff for years. And then years ago, a friend of mine, I'd seen him speak and read all his books. And a friend of mine was hosting an event out in Oklahoma. I was like a month postpartum with our fourth baby, nursing around the clock. And she's like, you got to get down to Oklahoma. And John's speaking. I'm like, I love him. I've seen him speak a bunch of times. Like I haven't slept in, I don't know how long. I just, I can't justify the trip. She's like, I don't know, something's telling me like, you're supposed to be in this room. So I literally traveled down there for 24 hours and I end up meeting John, which I've met him before, but like, in like photo lines and stuff, like
Right.
you take a picture or whatever, it signs a book. But something sparked in the conversation. I can't remember exactly what it was. We had some like mutual peers and friends. And he said, I have to finish up here, but I'm going to come find you in a little bit. I want to finish this conversation. And I'm thinking, okay, you're the keynote. There are like 5,000 people here solely to see you speak. I'm never going to get to talk to you again, but that was nice. So it was a dinner event. So there are all the round tables and everyone's eating dinner before John gets up and speaks. And I'm eating and I know no one there besides my friend. And I just hear Liz. And my friend looks at me and she's like, Liz, you might want to turn around. And there's John yelling from his table, like, Liz, come over here. So I end up going over and we're chatting. And what was really neat was like all the gifts that he gave me through his work filled a deficit for me. Like it made me into a different person. I saw perspectives on how you grow and how you become who you're called to be through his leadership and his work. But my gifts in serving entrepreneurs and helping them scale was a weak spot for him. So he was like, how can we collaborate? So we ended up having a nice conversation, but then he had to, deliver his keynote. So he said, I want you to meet me for breakfast tomorrow. So we met for breakfast and we ended up having breakfast together and talking about what it could look like to partner and collaborate going forward. And I think one of the things that struck me the most about him, like I looked at him as just the GOAT, like the OG of all things leadership and development and personal growth. And he's worked with anybody, you name them, like presidents and athletes and all these people. But he was 76 at the time or 75 at the time. And he was so curious. Like he asked me, he showed up to that breakfast with his yellow legal pad with questions already filled out that he had for me. I'm like, I'm a nothing. Like he doesn't know who I am, but he is living his life with such a level of curiosity that's keeping him so young and so vibrant and so like I don't know, just engaged in life. So from that birthed a business partnership. And I've had the great privilege of mentoring him on the other side of the coin. And we worked a lot together over the last few years. I'm flying. I was down in Atlanta where their home offices are not too long ago. And I'm heading down to Orlando to speak at his event at the end of August. So it's been this like full circle opportunity. But I would say John was probably one of the first. And then since then, I feel like God just like picks up and plucks the right people at the right time and puts them in my life as mentors beyond anything that I deserve. And from that mentorship and really that love that they give, I've been able to see elements of myself that I could have never seen on my own. And that's just been the story of my life. Like even since I was a kid, I was raised in an entrepreneurial family. Both my parents ran businesses, my grandfather, my aunts and uncles. So that was super normal for me. So much of what I learned way more in like the classroom of their businesses than I ever did in an actual classroom. So I've had that gift of mentorship and having the right people in my life since I was a kid to help me get over the next hurdle and the next hurdle and the next hurdle to just continually evolve into whatever I'm being called to in the next season.
What is the characteristic that you have that attracts great mentors?
It's a good question. My first thought was like, maybe I'm externally a mess and they see that. And then they have pity on me and they come up and they're like, this poor girl, let me help her. I'd like to think that's not the case. I think what it is, well, I've always been a like leap before I'm ready, type of person, like much to my mother's gray hairs. She tells me all the time. She's like, oh, you've stressed me out over the years. Plus, it doesn't help that she's a CPA. She runs her own practice. So she's our CPA. So she's ridden, like now we're in a great spot, but like she's ridden those waves of me leaping far before I was ready. And I think that attracts a certain type of mentor, like where they are like, all right, this person's really they're going to do it. Like they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to pay lip service to it. But then on the other side of it, I think they see the side of me that there's a meekness of like, I need help believing in myself to know that I could do it. It's not that I can't figure it out tactically. It's like, am I worthy of that? Or what is really required of me? And I think that's always made me coachable. I want people to give me their opinion. Like I want people to tell me what blind spots I have, even if it hurts. I want people, like I had a mentor, it was in 2015. We just had one child at the time, and it was the year our business did its first $1 million in profit. So it was a celebratory year for us. And one of my mentors flew out for this mastermind event I was hosting. I've been hosting masterminds for about a dozen years. And I was so excited to have him there because he was with me back when like I couldn't figure out how to scrape together my first like 50K. And I'm like, oh, he's going to be so proud of me and all, just excited to show him what I'd built. And that event, we had a big group of really elite entrepreneurs there. We had sold it out. Like I felt like I was firing on all cylinders. And there was a gap in the action, like there was a break or something for lunch. And my mentor was like, hey, do you have a few minutes? Like, can we chat and catch up? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And I'm like, oh, he's probably going to like pat me on the back and tell me how great I am. And he's just sitting there and he looked nervous. And this guy was like, nothing rattled him. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, what's he going to tell me? He's like, Liz, do I have permission to be like totally honest with you? And I was like, yeah, of course. Always, that's the relationship we have. He's like, okay, great. You're drastically underperforming your potential. And it was like a donkey kick. I'm like, what does he think? I should have made 2 million? Like I did this in the first year of my child's life. Like I thought all these great things. And then he flipped it back on me once I calmed down and let him like talk. I was like, okay, like all I could muster was like, okay, tell me more. Cause I was so like hurt by that comment. Yeah. And he was like, Liz, what have you had to sacrifice to achieve this goal? And I started reflecting back and realizing like how much I had missed in the first year of my son's life. And I'm looking in the room of all these on paper, super successful entrepreneurs. But I'm like, I don't really have respect for any of like this. These two are getting divorced. This one like doesn't ever show up for their kids. This one is saying they're doing multi-million-dollar launches, but they're like barely surviving because they have to pay all this money to affiliates and ads and what it's all appearances. It's all keeping up with the Joneses. He's like, you did this and it's an accomplishment, but is it your accomplishment? Like, is this really it for you? Is this what you're called to? And it was less about like the tactics of the business I was running. It was more about the illusion of success that I was chasing and who I had kind of degraded into in order to achieve it. And from that moment, I've had a motto. I have it right here on my desktop. And I say it to my clients all the time of how you build the thing is as important as the thing you build. Because when you're ambitious, you care deeply about what you're building. And most of us convince ourselves, I'm doing it for my family, obviously. Like I'm creating freedom for us. This is a worthy thing to chase. This is a noble thing of me to do. But really, when you calculate what's required and the timelines we do it in and the goals that we push for and like the selfishness of just trying to stroke our ego to make this business work, it really comes at the expense of the things that matters most if we're willing to be honest. And that's what he was loving enough to say to me. Had he not said that, I could have gone another 5-10 years just chasing all these vapid metrics, never looking up and realizing like I'm missing my whole life. I'm burning myself out. And for what? Like, what's my legacy? How am I really impacting here? Just getting rich people in a room so that I can say that I sold out an event and that I made a certain amount of money. Like he knew that wasn't who I was. So I've had people strategically placed in my life along the way to keep me in check when my ego gets too big. And I think it probably just stems from like, all right, I'm willing. Like, just tell me. I'll listen.
Jeez, that takes a lot of humility. I mean, because you could have just said, like, "What a jerk!" Like he's jealous. He's got envy, and did as my kids call it, a reverse card. So
right, exactly.
So is that what led you? I mean, the question of the day is, what if business growth could lead to more harmony in your family? And was this the turning point for you?
Yeah, that was a big tipping point. Now, I will admit that I'm the type that apparently has to get hit square between the eyes with a 2x4, maybe like 4 or 5 times before it registers. Because it wasn't like the next day I went and turned it all around. Sure. Because, now you've built the machine. This is the problem that I see so many of my entrepreneurs face. They're like, yeah, that's great, Liz, but like, now I have something I have to maintain. I don't have time to just lean into my calling or go write the book or, show up in a bigger way for my family because my schedule is packed and payroll shows up every month and there are demands on me. And I'm like, I get that. So sometimes there's a runway you have to create into a new way of functioning. And the way I describe it is a lot of us, and I'm sure in your line of work, you see this a lot. And I'm very familiar with your line of work. And I'm very passionate about what you guys do because health is a pillar, not just health, like vibrance is a pillar of what I believe to be one of the cornerstones of how you tap into who you're called to be, right? Like when I've suffered from severe Lyme disease for years and mold toxicity. So I know what it's like to function on one iota of what you really could have and know how much potential is being left on the table. And it's devastating. So I believe in that wholeheartedly. But I think a key thing that so many high achievers are so familiar with is that we are not shy when it comes to hard work. Like you tell us the mountain we have to climb, we're like, double it. I'm in. Like, give me the next Everest. We'll fight for it. We'll challenge ourselves. We thrive on challenge. But we often do it from a place of what I would call like calculated force, right? Like we're not just like grinding and gritting our teeth and pushing. We're like, what's the next move I have to make to help me grow? What do I have to do to make more money? And we're doing those things over and over from like a place of effort. There was this tipping point for me, like after that interaction and then many humbling moments of like, how do I fix this mess? Like, how do I change this? Because now I've got this like golden cage type of thing. Where I had to, again, it came back to who I was becoming so that I was capable of being someone that could elevate into a new level of leadership. And it was shifting from force to overflow. So everything I'd been doing up to that point, the million in profit, the clients that I was serving, was because I was a hustler. Like, I was capable of doing the hard things to get the results.
Yeah.
Everything that I wanted more than anything, if I was really willing to sit in stillness and like pay attention to what actually matters, like you're looking back on a rocking chair when you're 80 and making sure that you actually lived the life that you were here to live, not just the one that you thought was going to build something for someday. It was going to come from a place of, oh, I've realized what I'm called to. I've worked to become that person. And now everything I do is a result of it just bubbling up out of me because I can't help it. It's like there's extra. I don't have to manufacture it. I don't have to force it. I don't have to push it. Doesn't mean stuff isn't hard. Doesn't mean I don't take on challenges all the time and everything just comes easily. I'm not saying that. It's saying that it's aligned. It's like, it's a result of who I am. And when I've made that shift, now I've reverted back, many times over the years where I have to like bring myself back to this place. The opportunities that I'd been fighting so hard for, they became available to me, but so did even bigger opportunities, or even more aligned doors would open. And it wasn't from a place of like banging down the door. So it's been a long road of like doing it wrong, getting a taste of doing it right, slipping back into doing it wrong, and realizing, no, you have the tools now, you got to do this right. And for me, there was a simple process. Like, I'm on a quest to make leadership tangible because it can feel very esoteric when I tell you, oh, just do this from a place of overflow. Who do you need to become? You're like, Liz, that means nothing in a tangible sense. I'm a very tactical person. I'm very strategic. So I like to take these big picture thoughts and ideas and principles and turn them into frameworks to actually give you, like, if you were to say, okay, Liz, what do I do with the next, 3 hours of my time then? You know exactly what to laser in on to get the results you want. I created this framework called the Visionary Matrix, and there are 4 quadrants. And the quadrant we tend to find ourselves in, especially successful entrepreneurs, is the quadrant of easy but heavy. So what I mean by that is because we've built something real and successful, we then have to manage it and maintain it. So we grasp at the things that we could do in our sleep. All right, we'll sign that next client, even though it fills our calendar. They're not really an aligned client because the money's there, or just, I'm so busy, just make the hire. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care what their value system is. They can get the job done, check the boxes, just make it. And we keep grabbing at all those easy things. But when we sit with them and we assess them, they're heavy. It's like you dread opening the email from that client because they were never the right person anyway. Or you look at your calendar and you're like, how do I do this again? I'm so overbooked and I have no capacity to think about the things I want to do with my life, like take the stages or write the book or just be with my spouse or my kids, because it was easy, but it has this weight that is going to forever be the bottleneck to what you're really called to do. There's
that heavy is like friction is what it feels like. It's just all these friction points that it's drain energy.
Drain the heck out of you. Now, on the other side, there's the quadrant of hard but light. Now, hard doesn't mean heavy. Hard means challenge. Okay. And we thrive in challenge. Hard is like, give me the thing that I'm probably not ready for yet. Give me the thing that I still have work in me to do, or skills I need to develop, or maybe I don't even have the resources for yet. Like, maybe I don't have the team established or the amount of money or the time to do what I'm like being guided into. But I know when I think about it, it's light on my soul. Like, it's for me. That was my book. I sat on that book for so long because I didn't have what I needed to just get it done now. And I had such a mentality of like, you just have to do what's under your nose today. Like, you just have a list that's growing. But when you shift into that other quadrant, that's where like that overflow becomes accessible. That's where you start to experience your exponential leaps instead of like the slow incremental grind that we're all so sick of. Is really where just magic starts to happen, both in the business, but also personally. You start to fuel the other categories of your life that matter, like your health, because you're vibrant again, you're energized, you're in your sweet spot. You're not living your life in busy work, you're living in your life's work. Like, so much good comes from it. and just touches every other area of your life. And that's when you know, like, oh, that's when you wake up and you go to bed feeling satiated.
Mm. So it's like flow state where, if I'm mountain biking, there's trails that I get bored of pretty easy. But when I level up and I'm on the double black diamond or whatever, snowboarding, skiing, mountain biking, now I have to really focus in. And that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. Yep. And you become more elite after you've attempted something that you maybe weren't totally ready for or didn't know exactly how it was going to go, but you come out of it having grown. And you can't do that in a vacuum. Like, we love to consume content and, training and this and that. The growth comes in action, in taking
Right.
risk, in being brave enough to put your feet on the edge of the cliff and jump. You don't get to like learn your way safely and quietly into your next level. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, learning requires some pain, and it sounds like that's where that side of the quadrant is.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's easy and heavy, hard but light.
Yeah.
This is the vision.
So it's actually one quadrant alone is easy and heavy. There's another quadrant that you just don't touch with a 10-foot pole, and it's hard and heavy, because like, who needs a challenge that's also not for them, because that's just a waste of all energy. There's a quadrant that is reserved for like appropriate things. So it's easy and light, right? So I reserve that quadrant for like good, happy moments with my family. Like, this is easy. Like, we're going to the beach today. We're going to create some memories. That lifts our spirits. We feel light, but it's not where you're going to like become the version of yourself you're called to be. So from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's getting you out of that easy but heavy quadrant and into that hard but light quadrant.
And do you calendar with these intentions in mind?
I sure do, because in my nerdy way, I then had to turn that into something that could become tangible.
Yeah.
So we do a process with our mastermind members and our clients where we help them discern like what's falling in what quadrant. And this is something we reassess a lot. Like, nothing we do in leadership is one and done. And I think that's a big misconception where people are like, okay, now I'm at this level, I'll never face these struggles again. It's like, no, now you're probably going to face them even bigger, but you have the resources to come back to get through it faster, or to be more resilient, or to not let it sting as much. So I created something called the Visionary CEO Schedule. And this is very, it's something that any industry can take and make it your own. Or like, if I'm in a season where, homeschooling's on the calendar, like, I can tweak it accordingly. Or if I'm in a season we're in a launch, or I'm having a baby, which we do with our next little one in October. So it's like, that season will change things, right? Like, my calendar look different. But the premise is that there are 7 key blocks that show up in every visionary CEO's calendar. And this takes them out of the busy work and into their life's work, which is conveniently where their sweet spot is, where they come alive and they're energized, but it's also where they're most profitable. So an example of something that we do with this calendar that is way underutilized and might sound obvious, but I bet you if people assessed their calendar, they don't do it, is we call it the Visionary CEO block. So now at this point in my business, I spend about half of my time here, which feels crazy because in the beginning, it was like a win if I could get an hour a week.
Sure.
And the idea is that these blocks just show up at least once in your week, not every day necessarily. The Visionary CEO block is where you get to 30,000 feet. You're not in the doing, you're not in the managing, you're not in the operations. You're casting vision, you're reimagining, you're innovating and iterating, you're like problem solving. You're at that vantage point of a leader so that you are making key decisions to progress the business into its next level and you into your next level. We very rarely value, from a strategic and profitable standpoint, thinking, contemplating, imagining, reimagining. So much value in that. Some of the best leaders that I work with, names that everybody knows, they spend the bulk of their time there. And it's a huge gift to the business. Now, from a more strategic standpoint and kind of on the other side of the spectrum, we live very reactionary lives. open the computer. Okay, what do I need to get back to my team in Slack? Oh, my phone's dinging at me. Who do I need to respond to? Oh, I've got these emails I got to get back to. Oh, I have this project I got to work on. Oh, I said I was going to do this. And we're just responding and reacting. And we let that bleed throughout our whole day. We've got a meeting at this time and whatever.
Yeah.
So the key is yes, I get it. Low leverage stuff has to get done. A lot of it can be outsourced, and that's a whole other conversation. We work with our clients to help get them up out of the weeds and bring in the right team members to support them being in their sweet spot. But when you have low leverage things sprinkled throughout your day, you are reducing your, not just productivity, your profitability and prosperity by such a high percentage, it's stifling. So what we do is we create something called the efficiency CEO block. And that's where you create a block. Now, different industries are different. Like I have some friends in real estate, for example, and they're like, I can't go till 3 p.m. without answering a text message or I'll lose a $5 million deal. So you take it, put it through your filter. That's why this is very customizable. But what you do is you create a block anywhere from 30 minutes to like no more than 45 minutes. And you put it in a zone of your day where you're not the most energized and you're not, it's not like your best mojo time of the day. So for me, like between 8 a.m. and noon, I can get the most focused. I can get the most done. I can do my most creative work. I don't put my efficiency block in that time. I also don't like to start my day with it because then you start your day in a posture of reactivity, which is just not good for your leadership mindset. I put mine usually when I start to crash around 2 p.m.-ish, 3 p.m., and it's 30 minutes. I crank whatever music is going to pump me up and I laser in. And it's amazing. The stuff that I normally would let, just bleed into my whole day gets done in 30 minutes and it's completed. And when you're only given a small window of time, you get it done in that small window of time. So what that does is it extracts. Imagine if you picture one of your chaotic or reactionary days. Imagine if all that crap went away, like being on someone else's calendar, responding to people, getting people what they say they need from you, getting little tasks done. And now you just had these big blocks of time to go towards things that actually move the needle. And you're still going to get the task done, but you're going to get them done in the most efficient possible way. That's been a game changer. And then the third block I'd recognize, knowing we don't have time to go through all 7, is the sweet spot block. And we do a calendar audit with our clients when we work with them. Usually less than 5% of their time is in their zone of genius. Yet that zone of genius can increase their revenue by over 50% if they started to double, triple, quadruple the amount of time they spend there. It's where their gifts, like their innate gifts and calling work and their passion, like the work that makes them come alive, it all collides with what their business generates and what the market calls for. And that block of time you have to treat as though it's a meeting with like the CEO of a mega corporation you'd never miss the meeting with. And you protect it fiercely and you have your team protect it fiercely. In doing that, that was probably one of the most profitable things I ever did for my business was the visionary work, being out ahead of things and being a future thinker. And then having actual tangible time where I'm getting work done that maybe I'm not getting paid for today, but it's going to take me into my next level in the future.
And you call that block the zone of genius time?
No, sweet spot block. So it's like,
that's where you work in your zone of genius. Yep.
Exactly. You got it. I have a tool that I'm happy to share with your listeners. It's just a template that we've created to like give you the visual on what the 7 blocks are and how you can kind of manipulate them based on your industry and what you do. So they can either DM me on Instagram, the word template, and I'll just send it to them. Or I think it's at luminaryleadershipco.com/template. But that's a tool that we use over and over, and it's profoundly impactful because it's basically taking what you identify and discern from the visionary matrix and then putting it into action.
That is great. I appreciate you sharing that. I can't wait to use it. What's your Instagram handle?
It's at Liz Hartke, ELIZHARTKE.
Perfect.
And
yeah, so you've got a YouTube channel too.
I do, a little baby YouTube channel. We just birthed it not too long ago.
Birthing all kinds of things. Well, I'll make sure to jump in there. Well, holy cow, like the just the immense volume of clarity that you've created in just a short period of time. Like I can only imagine what it's like working with you and being in your masterminds. Who are the people that you work with? I mean, what's the right fit?
Yeah, good question. So we work with elite entrepreneurs. So we work with people who are beyond established. They've built something real and profound, but they are definitely hitting that I've outgrown the way that I build my business stage, and or my business is outgrowing my leadership, and I know I'm being called into something greater, what I would call, their big next, but it's like, how do I bridge that gap from here to there? So our big focus is taking them from reactionary or forced effort, all that, into Overflow CEO. So it's called the Overflow CEO Mastermind. It runs for a year. It starts in January. And it is my favorite thing we do because we keep it intimate on purpose so that we can truly get under the hood of each person's business, but also like every element of their lives. We encourage them to join with their spouse, whether or not their spouse works in their business or not, or runs their own business, because you're on a mission. When you're married, you're on a mission together. So how can you integrate there? And we really encourage them to join with their right hand so that we can truly help elevate that visionary into their sweet spot and out of the weeds and out of the busy work so that they can see a massive ROI over that year together, because that's where they tip the scales into the work they're really called to do. It's one of my favorite things.
Awesome. You'll be doing it with yet another baby. I mean, October.
Well, yeah, October. So every mastermind for the last 10 years, I've had a kid on my hip, and it's been such a cool thing. They're like, my kids have just been along for the ride. We host in-person events too for these.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, like I have my son like making drinks or something for people, or, a baby, as I'm like talking about this $10 million business strategy, and I'm like holding a baby as I'm doing it. And it's just like, this is the life we've chosen to live. And so it's very, I'd say, normal for our kids. And my hope is that instills a lot of value in them, because a big thing for us is we like to host at least one of the events at our home, because it means a lot to us to open our home and our family to people. And when we give of ourselves in that year, like we give of ourselves, like you are bringing me and my husband and our family and our team, wrapping you up and coming alongside you to help you do what feels impossible today. So you come out, with clarity on your calling and a path to get there. And it's, I think selfishly, like it's such a gift for us. Like we get to be around some pretty remarkable people. And I would say the prerequisite, aside from being, advanced in business, we work with all different industries, is that you're not a D-bag and that you're family first minded. Like you actually care about your family. So even if you haven't figured it out yet, even if you haven't figured out how you master both of these things, we want to work with people who are doing generational work, like yes, in your business, but also in your home.
I love that. Well, I think I don't know about you guys listening today, but I learned a lot. And the cool thing is, I have kids. So many of you have kids, and bringing them into the workflow is so magical. I have an academic kind of medical group called Go Wellness. And my kids have been involved for the last, I guess we started 10 years ago.
That's cool.
And it's so fun having them involved in those events, setting things up, taking care of the doctors in the room. And now my son, one of them who's 19, he knows how to ask the right questions. He knows how to get great mentoring from these very successful entrepreneurs, and it's a gift that you're giving your kids. And I think those of you who loved what Liz had to share, maybe it would be a new avenue for you, because it's super unique. I can see why so many mentors have reached out to you and said, "Hey, I can help you," or "Can you help me?" Which is even cooler.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much. And we're actually going to be hosting one of the events out in Utah. So we'll be knocking down your door and connecting on that. Because like I said, I think the work that you guys are doing so needed. And it's so tragic once you learn how broken the traditional medical system is, and that we don't even have the knowledge just through regular channels on how to take care of ourselves and how to create vibrant lives. And what a gift you guys are giving back to people, that they get that access point now on something that we were never taught organically. So I love it. I will champion what you guys are up to until the cows come home.
I appreciate it. We're both healers. I mean, you're healing the family. I'm just trying to heal the human body, and hopefully that does overflow into the family. So
yeah, absolutely.
Man, can't wait. Well, Liz, thanks so much for being on the show. For those of you who enjoyed this, make sure you share it with your friends, family, loved ones. And until next time, make sure you create some ageless experiences. I'll see you on the next show.